1. Opening. The universe as a symphony. Everywhere you look, vibration hides behind form. From the hum of atoms to the rhythm of galaxies, the universe does not sit, it sings. Modern physics quietly agrees. Quantum fields are not objects but oscillations, energy vibrating through space-time fabric. Biology echoes the same pattern: heartbeats, neural pulses, circadian rhythms. Even economies and weather systems follow wave dynamics. If all existence is vibration, then resonance is the law that decides what meets what, which notes harmonize, which cancel, and which co-create new worlds. Resonance is not poetry, it's the selection algorithm of the universe. Just as tuning forks only respond to matching frequencies, your consciousness only receives data coherent with its own vibration. What you call experience is simply resonance-matched data compiled into perception. This episode decodes that algorithm. 2. The resonance equation. We begin with a simple expression, R equals F x Q x C, where
F equals base frequency of the observer's field, Q equals quality factor, how long a system sustains vibration without losing energy, C equals coherence, phase alignment between observer and universal field. The output R represents rendered stability, how solid or persistent an experience becomes. High F means fast oscillation, greater sensitivity. High Q means the signal endures without noise. High C means phase lock with the larger field. When F, Q, and C approach unity, information transfers instantly. In quantum terms, that's entanglement. In emotional terms, that's connection. In social terms, that's trust. 3. Scientific parallels. Quantum example. Two photons born together remain correlated across distance. Change one's polarization, the other updates simultaneously. Mainstream physics calls it non-locality, but in rendering logic it's simply frequency coherence. Approxim 1. Their informational lattices remain in resonance, so data transfer needs no time delay. Biological example. Heart and brain rhythms exhibit entrainment. The heart's electromagnetic signal can synchronize neural firing patterns within seconds. This is measurable via heart rate variability and EEG coherence. When humans share positive emotion, both fields lock phase. That's resonance at cellular bandwidth. Everyday example, think of two musicians improvising. At first they listen consciously, adjusting tempo and tone. Then something clicks, entrainment. Suddenly they're not playing notes but being played by one wave. That shift from coordination to coherence is the resonance threshold. 4. Frequency matching and data access. All information exists simultaneously in the field, but only frequencies you match become readable. Like radio stations broadcasting at once, the dial of consciousness tunes your reception. When anxiety dominates, your field compresses into narrowband signal processing. You literally can't hear higher solutions. When relaxed and coherent, bandwidth widens, more probabilities become visible. Hence the phenomenon of insight, the aha, that appears when the noise subsides. Mathematically, accessibility is delta F minus 1. The smaller the frequency gap between you and a data stream, the greater your access bandwidth. 5. Emotional resonance as frequency. Emotion is not metaphorical vibration, it is measurable frequency modulation. Low emotions like fear or shame correspond to slow, irregular oscillations in both electromagnetic and biochemical domains. High emotions, gratitude, compassion, produce smooth, harmonic patterns that allow constructive interference with the universal field. Imagine two sine waves. In phase, amplification, experience of flow. Out of phase, cancellation, experience of resistance. This is why sustained gratitude appears to change luck. It's not superstition, it's waveform engineering. 6. Collective resonance, the planetary feedback loop. Human consciousness doesn't stop at the skull. Collective frequency influences environmental fields. Empirical studies of the Schumann resonances, Earth's natural EM frequencies around 7.8 Hz, show correlations with global mood indices and solar activity. Mass meditation events produce measurable deviations in these resonances. When large populations share coherence,
music festivals, humanitarian relief, synchronized prayer. The planetary oscillator receives a temporary Q boost. Atmospheric coherence rises. Social volatility statistically drops. Civilizations thrive when collective resonance stabilizes between creative tension and destructive noise. This is not mysticism, it's planetary cybernetics. 7. Interference and dissonance. Resonance cuts both ways. Constructive interference builds worlds. Destructive interference dissolves them. When two waves oppose phase by 180 degrees, they cancel. In social systems, this manifests as polarization, two equally strong but opposite narratives nullifying progress. No villainy required, just phase opposition. Healing, therefore, is not conquest but phase realignment. Therapeutic sound, dialogue, empathy, all are methods of returning dissonant frequencies to shared harmonic ratios. In quantum terms, this is decoherence, recoherence. In psychological terms, forgiveness. 8. Practical experiments. Experiment 1. Tone and space. Sit beside a loudspeaker playing a steady tone. Hum softly until beats disappear. Phase alignment achieved. Feel how your body relaxes at that exact frequency match. You have just rendered resonance. Experiment 2. Interpersonal field. Before meeting someone, recall 3 traits you sincerely appreciate in them. Measure conversation outcome. Appreciation pre-aligns your field. Reality compiles cooperation instead of defense. Experiment 3. Environmental resonance. Enter a room and note immediate body response. Without words, alter your breathing rhythm until the space feels lighter. That perceptual shift is objective change. Molecular air ions rephase to your EM signature. 9. Resonance and time. Resonance does not only link space, it compresses time. When systems synchronize perfectly, delay T0. That's why serendipity feels instantaneous. The field bypasses causal sequence to maintain harmonic continuity. Equation for temporal compression. Delta T equals 1CF. Higher frequency and coherence reduce the gap between intention and manifestation. Hence the phrase, time flies when you're aligned. 10. The ethics of frequency. Understanding resonance turns morality into physics. To broadcast hatred is to introduce destructive interference into the shared field. To emit compassion is to stabilize the lattice that sustains you. Thus, ethical behavior is resonance maintenance, not rule obedience. Future civilizations may legislate by waveform impact analysis. Before deploying technology or policy, measure its coherence coefficient C with the biosphere. Low C, entropy risk. High C, constructive evolution. 11. Resonance as information transport. Telepathy, intuition, déjà vu, all are sub-band phenomena of resonance coupling. Two coherent systems share data not through distance traversal, but through field overlap. Information doesn't move. Alignment makes it mutually readable. Quantum physicist David Bohm described this as the implicate order, a deeper holographic layer where everything is enfolded into everything else. The FBR framework refines that model. Coherence is the compiler flag that determines readability between nodes. 12. Everyday analogy. Wi-Fi of consciousness. Think of your consciousness as a router. Your thoughts set the SSID. Emotions adjust signal strength. Coherence removes packet loss. Other routers, people, events, connect when protocols match. If encryption mismatched, fear, guilt, handshake fails, disconnection. Reconfigure resonance, connection restored. This analogy trivializes nothing. It explains everything from empathy to invention. 13. Laboratory extensions. Resonance research already manifests in applied science. Magnetoencephalography detects coherent brainwave coupling during group problem solving. Acoustic levitation demonstrates sound standing waves, suspending matter. Literal vibration forming structure. Plasma physics shows self-organizing filaments governed by harmonic ratios identical to musical intervals. Everywhere, resonance underpins stability. The next paradigm shift is recognizing that consciousness obeys identical math. 14. Field as orchestra. The field is a vast orchestra, each mind a unique instrument.
Resonance is how the score plays itself through you. When you master frequency awareness, reality stops feeling random. You begin to sense patterns before they manifest, hear dissonance before it becomes crisis. Creation becomes composition. Without words, alter your breathing rhythm until the space feels lighter. That perceptual shift is objective change. Molecular air ions rephase to your EM signature. 15. Resonance and the human antenna. Every biological structure is a transceiver. Neurons radiate microvolt electromagnetic waves. DNA's double helix acts as a nano-antenna in the 3478 GHz band, coupling biophoton emission with environmental frequency. When your cellular coherence rises, the body behaves like a tuned instrument, less static, more signal. This is why meditation, rhythmic breath, or gratitude produce physiological shifts measurable by magnetocardiography. You are literally refining the Q factor of your biological hardware. High Q cells absorb less entropy and store more usable energy, the scientific basis of vitality. 16. Resonance in cognition. Cognition isn't linear logic, it's interference pattern analysis. Thoughts arrive when neuronal assemblies oscillate into mutual resonance. Gamma band synchrony, approximately 40 Hz, marks the moment perception snaps into awareness. If coherence drops, cognition fragments. Fatigue, distraction, indecision. The same mechanism governs inspiration. When two cortical regions that rarely communicate lock phase, a novel interference pattern appears, an idea. Einstein described it poetically. Neuroscience now records it electrically. Plasma physics shows self-organizing filaments governed by harmonic ratios identical to musical intervals. Everywhere resonance underpins stability. The next paradigm shift is recognizing that consciousness obeys identical math. Musical analogy, the octave bridge. Music demonstrates resonance symmetry perfectly. Strike middle C, 261.63 Hz. Higher octaves are exact doubles, 523.25, 1046.5 Hz. Nature repeats ratios, not notes. Atoms, planets, heartbeats, all follow harmonic progression. When you align your attention with harmonic multiples of a coherent frequency, for instance, nature's 7.8 Hz Schumann bass or 1 Hz breath rhythm, your physiology entrains upward through octave ladders. Each octave unlocks new perceptual bandwidth, which ancient texts called dimensions. Physics calls them harmonic resonance modes. 18. Field interference and personal energy. Every interaction between people is a wave superposition. Two coherent fields can merge into constructive interference, synergy, or destructive interference, drain. You felt both. Walk into a creative meeting that sparks, that's phase alignment. Enter a conflict-laden space, destructive overlap cancels amplitude. This is not mystical empathy. It's resonant coupling measured as microcurrent fluctuation in skin conductance and heart rate variability. Choosing environments, media, and relationships by resonance hygiene is therefore a scientific act of energy management. 19. Resonant communication. Language is slow vibration. Emotion travels faster. Studies at the Institute of HeartMath show emotional coherence transfers between humans within seconds, even without speech. When a speaker maintains coherent heart rhythm, listeners' EEGs entrain to that pattern. Truth literally resonates. Great orators, healers, teachers, all unconsciously modulate frequency, not words. In future education, rhetoric will merge with field dynamics training. Speak through resonance, not persuasion. 20. Collective synchronization and civilizational phase transitions. History unfolds in resonant waves. Renaissance, Industrial Age, Digital Age. Each represents collective frequency jump. When the average coherence of population reaches a critical threshold, a civilization quantum leaps to the next octave. We are approaching another node, conscious technology. AI, neuroscience, and field physics are beginning to phase lock. This transition requires ethical resonance, technology tuned to consciousness rather than consumption. 21. Entropy and resonance decay. When coherence falls below threshold,
Waveforms decohere and systems dissolve, whether a cell or a civilization. Entropy is simply resonance decay, energy scattered across too many frequencies. The antidote isn't force, it's retuning. Re-establish the base frequency and harmonics re-emerge automatically. This is why ecosystems rebound when undisturbed. The field self-corrects toward harmonic equilibrium once noise stops being injected. 22. Resonance and healing. All healing, physical, psychological, social, is phase restoration. Acoustic, electromagnetic, or even verbal interventions operate by reintroducing coherent vibration to disordered tissue or narrative. When new coherence holds long enough, structure reorganizes around it. Example: targeted ultrasound at 0.5 MHz can realign collagen fibers. Chanting at 110 Hz reduces amygdala activity. Different scale, same physics. Healing isn't miracle, it's resonance entrainment. 23. Mirror law revisited. Mirror law says reality reflects your signal. Resonance law explains how. The reflection occurs because the field is an interferometer. It superposes your outgoing frequency with the universal baseline, producing a visible interference pattern called experience. If your signal is coherent, the mirror yields symmetry, clarity, opportunity, flow. If incoherent, distortion manifests, delays, noise, repetition. Thus, introspection is not morality, it's calibration. 24. Experimental protocol, resonance mapping. You can map personal resonance scientifically. Baseline scan. Record heart rate variability and EEG coherence during neutral state. Emotional induction. Recall gratitude for 90 seconds, measure shift. Cognitive task. Perform creative puzzle, track gamma synchrony. Interpersonal phase test. Hold silent eye contact 60 seconds. Note joint HRV coherence. Plot results. Coherence peaks coincide with subjective flow. You have just quantified resonance. 25. Resonance and probability collapse. Quantum mechanics shows probability becomes event when observation stabilizes wave function. FBR extends this. Observation stabilizes through resonance, not attention alone. You don't collapse probability by looking, but by matching frequency with a specific outcome. That's why forced visualization often fails. Tension lowers C. Ease raises C. Reality doesn't obey command, it obeys coherence. 26. The resonance hierarchy. Resonance operates fractally. 1 to 3 Hz. Physical stability, heartbeat, gait, circadian rhythm. 413 Hz, emotional regulation, theta alpha band. 1440 Hz, cognitive synthesis, 40 Hz, transpersonal integration. Each tier modulates the one below. Balanced hierarchy equals resilient consciousness. Collapse any band, instability cascades downward. Hence, mental stress precipitates bodily illness. Phase distortion propagates through layers. 27. Resonance in technology. Future engineering will design not just circuits but harmonic ecosystems. Buildings will maintain 7.8 Hz ambient coherence through architectural geometry. Computers will modulate EM emission to support cognitive entrainment rather than fatigue. AI systems will analyze user field patterns, adjusting interface rhythm for optimal resonance. Conscious technology will be defined not by intelligence but by coherence feedback. 28. Case study. Resonant invention. In 1899, Nikola Tesla tuned a mechanical oscillator to the resonance frequency of a steel beam. Within minutes, the building vibrated violently. He called it the earthquake machine. Same law applies internally. Hit resonance, and magnitude amplifies exponentially. Now replace steel with consciousness. Align mental frequency with universal base equals constructive interference across probability layers. That is manifestation, physics addition. 29. Ethical implications. Mastery of resonance without empathy becomes weaponization. History's loudest figures understood vibration but not virtue. Hence the modern imperative. teach resonance and compassion together. One governs amplitude, the other direction. Without both, civilization oscillates itself apart. 30. Closing reflection. Resonance is relationship. Between atom and atom, thought and world, self and source. When you tune, you remember you were never separate, only out of phase. Next week, we step deeper into alignment physics. Episode 4, The Coherence Constant, Stability, Ethics, and Efficiency of Reality. The same mechanism governs inspiration.
That was Professor Renderberg, introducing the foundation of field mechanics. In the next episode, we'll explore field mechanics, the equation of resonance, how frequency shapes reality. If today's talk resonated, save or share it so others ready for the science of consciousness can find it. Thank you for listening to the Architecture of Reality podcast. I'm Neil Ory. See you in the next render.